All right, so we are doing Blackfoot this time. You excited?
Oh yeah, I'm heckin' excited. So how does this one start? Does the world end? Because that's kind of what I was expecting from Blackfoot, not Cherokee.
I
Uh,
think you're going to be very surprised with this.
oh,
Yeah, because you were saying how it's probably what uh, blood for the blood gods.
Warhammer reference
Yeah,
where they revel in combat and because from what you told me, they one of their rites of passage is to take somebody's scalp or something or uh hunt down another person.
right. Yeah, that was one thing. I actually forgot to look up his name, but there's a trail named after a guy that survived one of those attacks. Actually,
Oh shit.
yeah, he was he was a an explorer like Lewis and Clark, and he had just had enough and went off on his own. He had one other person with him. I can't remember if it was either he wanted to keep going and the other people stopped, or they kept going and he stopped. I can't remember which way it was, but he ended up on his own with one other person, right?
Dear.
Yeah, they ran across the Blackfoot, and I'm laughing because it's a crazy story, but they ended up killing the other person that was with him, and they started butchering that guy right in front of him because they were going to eat him.
Oh,
They were going to eat him. That's
oh.
just what it was, right?
I mean, yeah.
But they had a bunch of young men with them, and it was about time for their rite of passage sort of thing. So what they did was they stripped this guy naked, no shoes, nothing, and told him to run.
Oof.
They gave him a head start, and the young men started hunting him down. And after a while, he was following a river, but after a while, he managed to find a place to hide in a beaver lodge. He swam down and went up into the beaver lodge and hid there until they eventually went away, and then he found his way back to society and everything. But
Clever man.
if we
Bet the beavers weren't too happy.
that's a good point, actually. Beavers are vicious
Or
around
maybe
their home. Maybe they just understood. You know, they were like, "This dude needs help. Let's just let him stay here for a minute."
no, the Blackfoot were like, "Hey, we don't go in there. Why not? Beavers.
Yeah.
What's wrong with beavers? Have you ever heard of a piranha? No? Me either, but I hear they're vicious.
It does not start with the ending though. But oh right. So that story is one of the reasons why the Blackfoot have such a negative reputation is because they did stuff like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're hardly the only ones who did.
I mean,
I mean,
there's still tribes in the real world right now in various places
yeah.
that still do that.
Oh yeah. No, that's why I'm saying that they're hardly the only ones that did.
Yeah,
Hell, like I'm pretty sure what um some of the shit that happens in like the Bible or the um that's just a whole lot of really messed up shit that just happens in history.
yeah,
So, I'm not surprised. And I mean, if you look at a I was gonna try and rationalize it, but then I realized that just doesn't line up with my own personal morals. So, oh well.
right, right. I mean, it just makes me wonder, like, because recently I found out that they rediscovered a species of singing dog.
Singing dog.
Yeah, that they thought was extinct, and it turns out it's not. It's on North Papua Island, like Papua New Guinea, that area. And
A singing dog.
yeah, and it just makes me think like And they're big dogs too. Like they're the size of a dingo. They're not small creatures. They are large, vocal animals, and we thought they went extinct because we couldn't find them. So it just makes me think, what wildlife could there be on like North Sentinel Island that we just can't? We don't know it's there because we can't set foot on there because of the native tribes. You know.
Stupid assholes with society. We have bird shit that cures cancer.
We don't know. We have no clue.
Sorry, why did I say bird shit that cures cancer? Not a phrase I was expecting to say today.
Well, getting back on track, them having the negative
Yeah.
reputation and everything. I was looking into this. I was actually really surprised with their creation myth because I thought, like you did, that it was just going to be like death and violence
Well,
and everyone's in a war. But
disclaimer, I didn't actually think that. That was a joke.
I did think that, and I'm not afraid to admit it because I was wrong, and I'm happy that I was wrong.
Okay, so lay it on me. What's their deal?
In the beginning, there was water everywhere. Nothing else was to be seen. There was something floating on the water, though, a raft. And on this raft was Old Man and all the animals. Now,
Wait. Hold up. In the previous creation myth, everything came from the sky. Even the little weird drone thing that pulled land up from the water. But now there is
a raft.
Old Man on Raft.
Yeah, and going forward, I'm going to actually mostly swap to the native word that they call this old man, which is Napi.
Napi. All right.
Yeah.
Real quick, can you remind me of the area that the Blackfoot predominated?
The Great Prairies, actually. So the entire opposite side of the country, basically.
The entire opposite side of the country and away from most bodies of water.
Mm-hmm. They had no giant bodies of water. I mean, there's lakes and stuff, obviously, but like they're far enough away from the ocean that they wouldn't look out there and be like, "Hey, that's a thing," you know.
So let me get this straight. They have somewhere in their history they must have encountered an ocean.
Well, and this gets back to the migration of the human species throughout time. Was one of the things we think happened was not even all at once, but in waves. Native Americans actually crossed a land bridge from Asia into North America.
Maybe? I mean, yeah, the land bridge. Anyway, sorry. So, Napi is on a raft with all of the animals. Noah's Ark, anyone? Um, oh boy, I'm gonna have a lot of fun when we get to actually get to Noah's Ark.
I feel like there's so much in the Bible, and there's been so many studies about it, trying to break it down, that we're gonna have an entirely new miniseries just to handle that.
Oh no, it's still gonna be Mythunderstanding. It's just that we're gonna have it broken up into different creation myths and put into different playlists.
Yeah.
That said, okay, so nothing as wild as the sky was stone and there are space elevators going to it. Okay, it's just man on raft.
Yeah.
Or rather, a lone survivor with a genetic compendium of everything.
Could be. And
Because I don't know, like my brain is like, well, raft. That's small. Is that really the direct translation of the word?
as far as I can tell, yeah.
Is raft.
And full disclosure, I don't know um, the Blackfoot dialect as well as I know the Cherokee. So
That's fair.
there's very well could be things that I miss here that aren't quite translated correctly.
Well, so The more I think about it, they don't really have a word for ship, do they?
No, I don't think they would.
Yeah, because ships are more of a, well, European thing.
I didn't want to
And
say
Spain.
it.
Um, well, okay, even like the islanders, right? They have those longboats.
Mhm.
You know, the ones that they traverse the oceans with, which fucking mad lads, those guys. I kind of want to study those guys soon, but like,
Oh yeah, we'll get there. We'll get to them.
holy
I love the Polynesians. They are so crazy. I love them. We'll get there.
oh my goodness. Um, okay, one thing I want to point out to people. Human history is wild. Whenever somebody says you can't do this, we do it. All right? Don't let anyone ever say that you can't, right? I'm sorry, I'm stalling cuz I'm trying to like old man on a raft. Can you tell me more about this world that the old man on the raft found himself in?
I wish I could. That's just how it starts.
That's it?
That's
It's
it.
just there was water everywhere.
It is worth noting that Napi is also what they call the sun, and they believe that the sun is the old man.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, the Blackfoot believe that the sun made the earth, that he is the creator, and they call the sun Napi, which means old man.
I mean, okay, let's be really fucking clear right now. That is technically true.
Yeah, it is. It is the sun, the accretion disk, all of that. That is true. Yeah, they somehow have an understanding of that.
That is wild. And again, another creation myth that is oddly accurate.
Very true. They
Because
have.
you have the old man, he's literally just old, right? It's older than the earth, right? It's ancient.
Yep.
And its gravity pull created the accretion disk, and over time, the accretion disk conglomerated all of these rocks into rings, and then the rings conglomerated into planets, and then the planets conglomerated into uh,
Us.
targets for asteroids. Um,
You're not wrong.
okay, so how did this man become the sun? Did he just somebody get angry at him and yeeted him into the sky,
Uh,
and then he became fissionable?
well, I don't think that's actually in the creation myth,
All right. But
unfortunately.
Nappy is the sun,
Yeah.
and they have a
Well,
that these people have a concept that the sun. This is a little more scientific and evolutionary than uh the Cherokee myth, which is aliens. I'm not saying that the Cherokee creates. Okay, this is way more evolutionary. Kind of. This is more of an evolution conspiracy. That I've come up with for uh the Blackfoot tribe than the alien bullshit that I came up with for the Cherokee.
well, you remember how you were very happy and excited that the Cherokee was full of fuck ups, basically?
What do you mean full of fuck ups? Oh, you mean like reverse the story changing over time?
No, the like you had made a point where it was like most creation myths are like this was done and it was perfect, but the Cherokee were just like we took a couple tries to figure that shit out.
Oh, yeah. That's what you mean. Yes.
Napi wished to make land, and he told the beaver to dive down to the bottom of the water to try to bring up a little mud. The
I
beaver.
am okay.
Hmm?
Sorry. I am so surprised that we didn't have a situation like in the Middle East where you know, Catholicism and the Muslim religions uh, clashed so terribly because because one guy said, "Oh, well, the Messiah was born again, right?" And the other guys were like, "No, no, he hasn't been born yet." And here we have the fucking Native American tribes with water bug or water beetle versus beaver. Water beetle being the grandchild of beaver, and beaver just being beaver.
It's worse than that. You ready for this?
Okay.
The beaver dived and was underwater for a long time, but he could not reach the bottom. Then, after beaver, the loon tried, and after him, the otter, but the water was too deep for them. At
Okay.
last,
Hold up. I'm sorry. Are those animals native to the area that the
yes, they are.
okay. I was about to have a fucking stroke.
Yeah, yeah. The otter is a little bit questionable. I'm not entirely sure how far west the Blackfoot land reached, but it is plausible that they could have seen otters, yeah.
Okay.
Uh, at last, the muskrat was sent down, and he was gone for a long time. So long they thought he must be drowned, but at last he came up and floated, almost dead, on the water. When they pulled him up on the raft and looked at his paws, they found a little mud in them. Once Napi dried the mud, he scattered it across the water, and land was formed.
What? They found a little bit of mud, and he sprinkled it on top of the water, and it created land.
Yep.
What? Okay.
And like the Cherokee, it took more than one try to get things done, you know?
That's, well, okay, but this is different. The first time it was just little water beetle go, right?
Yeah.
Different sections. I get what you mean though. Okay, I'm gonna say this again. We are fucking stupid. We as in the British, the Spanish, all of the other people, where it's just like, oh yes, let's enforce a religion onto people, right? Were there wars between any of the Indian tribes over doctrine or belief?
Uh, there war, there was war, but I don't think it was for that reason, no.
We're really fucking stupid. We really have some of the most pitiful excuses to go to war. Oh, they have a different religion than us. They believe something different. They must be heathens. How stupid are you? Like, I get it. Sometimes religion is a big deal, and this isn't necessarily religion. This is creation myth, but it's near enough that makes no difference.
Yeah, but one thing I'd thought while I was reading this was, again, they were thought to come from a land bridge to the west, right? So it makes sense that the further east you go, the more refined the story gets. So in this one, they were trying a couple times before they got it right, and then with the Cherokee, they're like East Coast, right? So their story has it much more figured out, you know? It was easier for them to make land.
Ref I wouldn't use things like got it right, because I don't know. Wouldn't closer to the source of where they landed be more not pure, but like unchanged?
Yeah, and that's sort of my point was part of the land bridge theory is that they were following animals that they were hunting. So maybe part of this was they followed a beaver. That didn't work. They followed a loon. That didn't work, you know?
They killed it. They followed a muskrat. They killed it, and then they realized that they were at a completely different continent.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just I,
Wait, so were they headed from east to west or from west to east?
they came from the west. They came from Asia and
They
Europe
came
and that area.
from the west.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to be clear, the land bridge that they think that the Native Americans crossed over was from the tip of Russia into Alaska, and they spread from there.
I see. Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, so muskrat dived down, fucking drowned, and for their sacrifice,
Yeah.
land was created. Which, okay, if I'm gonna to Star Trekify it, uh, again, proper names sent into water or something scary and brought back the seeds that created this, that created the world.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So, if we were to go off of Cherokee, water is the door to another dimension,
Hmm.
and I like to conclude that that dimension is scary and dangerous, like drowning.
It's the upside down.
And it's the upside down, or perhaps um, oof. Okay, if we really want to get into it, fascist or authoritarian governments, people often feel like they can't get breath. There's no breathing room. So they snuck into not a rival, but the place that they ran away from to get the seeds to make this shit. I don't know. This all of this is disconnected because I haven't really figured out like I haven't had that spark of inspiration of yes, Dyson sphere. This is more like I don't know.
Oh, this one is entirely. The further you get, the more supernatural it gets, and there's actually some.
Really?
Yeah, there's even some parallels to Christianity once we get down to making man and
Oh,
that sort
that's
of thing.
fun. Oh, that's fun. Okay, let's go.
All right. After the land had been made, Napi traveled about, making things and fixing the earth to suit him. First, he marked out places where he wished the rivers to run, sometimes making them run smoothly and other times putting falls in them. Next, he made the mountains and the prairie, the timber and the small trees and bushes. Sometimes he carried along with him lots of rocks, from which he built some of the mountains, which stand out on the prairie by themselves.
Okay.
Napi caused the grass to grow on the plains so that the animals might have something to feed on. He marked off certain pieces of land where he caused different kinds of roots and berries to grow. A place for kamas, which are a type of flower, a place for wild carrots, and one for turnips, sweet and bitter roots, one for service berries, bullberries, a place for cherries and plums, and a place for rosebuds. So,
So this has gone full fantasy here.
yeah, yeah,
Because instead of there being like a team effort, right? It's just Nappy.
yes. Napi is.
How
Hmm,
it is. Oh, it is wild to me that these stories are so different,
yeah, yeah.
but similar in the fact that an animal brought them land.
And this story is more detailed in what was meant for people to have. They go into what Napi made for them and talk about how these things are different from each other because they grow in different areas. They need different conditions to prosper, right?
Which that kind of feels like passed down knowledge,
Mm,
right? Where it's like, hey, these plants grow in the locations that they grow for a reason.
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, we don't know that reason, therefore, Napi did it. Uh, the summary of this entire thing: Napi did it.
Yeah, you know that old man over
If
there? He
if
got bored and made everything. What do you mean, everything?
if if the Cherokee myth was uh executive decision, buzzard go or vulture go, oh gosh,
No, it's buzzard.
buzzard go make land. Wait. Um, this is Nappy. Nappy did it.
Yep. Yep.
Your tongue turned blue. Nappy did it. You've been cursed. Nappy wasn't happy with you. Nappy did it.
Well, he did more than just make the ground, too. Napi made...
Already forgetting the sacrifice of the muskrat. Damn.
Yeah, yeah. Napi made all kinds of animals that travel on the ground. When he made the bighorn, with its great horns, he put it on the prairie. It did not seem to travel easily there. It was awkward and could not go fast. So he took it by one of its horns and led it up into the rough hills among the rocks. He let it go there, and it skipped about among the cliffs and easily went up fearful places. So Napi said to the bighorn, "This is the place for you. This is what you are fitted for, the rough country and the mountains."
So Napi didn't create them. He just sort of Napi is like this this force of evolution.
Yes.
That's this is what you were suited for. This is where you belong.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
And it's an interesting note there is in evolution that would be the way that it happened, is that the bighorns...
Random mutation just so happened to be really, really good at surviving in these areas.
Right, but it would have happened that way. They would have evolved from something that was out on the prairie and evolved to live on the mountains.
Yeah.
So again, that's why did the Blackfoot know that that's the way that happened?
Well, they didn't, but I suppose again. Oh, okay. I get what you're driving at. You're pushing my brain towards the aliens.
Well, not necessarily
Um,
aliens, but passed down knowledge.
yeah, passed down knowledge. Like it. In spoken word, it's just too difficult to explain everything.
Hmm.
So it's just easier to say Napi did it.
Now,
Okay.
to counter that point I just made, while Nappy was in the mountains, he made antelope and turned it loose to see how it traveled.
Son of a bitch.
The antelope
Ugh.
the antelope ran so fast that it fell over some rocks and hurt itself. He saw that this would not do, and took the antelope down on the prairie and set it free there. It ran fast and graceful, and he said, "This is the place that suits you."
Okay, hang on. Sorry. So all the animals were on the raft,
Hmm.
and yet he made something.
Two
This
things.
inconsistency. Two things?
He made the bighorns too.
Okay. This tells me again my theory that it might be a genetic record rather than a an actual literal animals on the raft,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah. The Napi had
Uh
a genetic record of all the animals that he was supposed to bring to this new place.
yes.
Yeah.
And so cuz again, there's records of animals being on the ship. Small animals, ones that would be easy to care for
Yes.
as pets to keep him sane.
Right. The
Uh
beaver, the loon, the muskrat, and what was the other one? Um,
And hear me out, what if those animals just marked the time that he was searching around? Ah, my beaver is dead. All right, time to revive a new one. Oh, that one's dead too. How long has it been?
Mm. Oh man, not
Right.
the otter.
So marking time with creatures,
The lifespan of the
perhaps
creatures. Yeah.
the lifespan of the creatures, and then right around the time that the muskrat nearly died, he got a ping. He got uh his land.
So, in this analogy, the raft is a spaceship of some kind, and Muskrat was the one that was closest to, oh, look, that planet can be terraformed.
Yeah, muskrat was alive, and around the time that it sort of was about to die, he got a lead on a terraformable planet.
Mm.
And so, because notice he takes that from basically the dead paws of the muskrat.
Yes.
We don't hear from the muskrat again, uh, and he uses it, right?
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily a sacrifice. That could again, that's just storytelling. So, okay, so we have a lone wanderer.
Now I'm just imagining uh, his spaceship was infested with some sort of space vermin, and it like crawled up and hit something on the control panel, and he was about to yell at it, and then he noticed it accidentally led him to Earth.
That oh, that would be kind of funny. It just sort of fell on the hyperspace controls, and he did a random jump somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so uh, the antelope.
Mm-hmm.
He brought the antelope out of storage because it has horns, it has hooves, it must go in the mountains, right? Nope.
Right.
Fucking terrible at that. Bring it back down to the plains.
But and it's again, it's a form of understanding evolution in a
Evolution.
way.
Yeah.
And
Which
again, it's to your point on the Cherokee, they got it wrong, which is awesome. I love that they got it wrong. As in, Napi tried to put the
yeah,
bighorn.
there
Yeah,
was a process. There wasn't just bam, done. All good. No worries. Got it right the first time.
yeah.
Um
I love that
when
note
you
of
go over the
fallibility that's just built into the Native American stories.
There we go. Yes, fallibility. That's a very good word to use. Please use that from now on and not they got it wrong.
I'll try.
Because all that does is like, ah yes, the Blackfoot myth. They got it wrong. That was my first knee jerk reaction. Just like, what?
Okay. They baked in fallibility into their myth, and that I appreciate that. I like that. You know.
Yes. Yeah. Which, you know what? I think that might be why they didn't have a religion war.
Mm. Because they understood that humans could be wrong, and that's okay.
Yes. Whereas way over in Engelland and uh Assyria and all those other places where it's like our god is right, our god is the only god, our god blah 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 blah. Rabba. Got it right the first time. Our god is the only god, our god is a jealous god. That is an actual line.
Yeah. Meanwhile, over here, the pagans are just like, we fucked up too. It's cool. Don't worry about it. Who's the heathen now?
Who is the godless heathen? The person who kills somebody over fucking ideas?
Yeah.
Like, come on. We are the savages.
You said it.
Savages, barely even human. The fucking delicious irony of that song. Oof. In any case, back to where we were. Antelope fucking tripped, so we put him on flat ground because Longhorn can't, or not Longhorn.
Bighorn.
Okay, yeah, sorry, there's Bighorn. Bighorn can climb, Longhorn can't. Longhorns can't climb.
Yeah, no, Longhorn is a cow.
Oh, okay. I thought. Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, antelope. Antelopes can't climb, and
Right,
cows, but
right.
they're part of the yeah.
Bighorn is a type of sheep.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I did look that up because I was like, is it a sheep or a ram? Those are subtly different. I want to make sure I get it right. It's a sheep.
Yeah. All right. So what happens next?
Nappy makes people.
Okay, going straight from so do they just not have a concept of? I mean, I guess Napi is the sun.
Mm-hmm. The sun, the
Which
creator, that kind of thing.
so he does his genetic record thing, and now he creates people. All right. So how does this happen?
This is where it's weirdly, it's weird how it kind of has similarities to Abrahamic religions, but then it goes completely a different direction also.
Okay.
At last, one day, Napi decided that he would make a woman and a child. He modeled some clay in human shape, and after he had made these shapes, he put them on the ground. He said to the clay, "You shall be people." Napi spread his robes over the clay figures and went away. The next morning, he went back to the place, lifted the robe, and saw the clay shapes had changed slightly. When he looked at them the next morning, they had changed still more. And when, on the fourth day, he went to the place and took off the covering, he said to the images, "Stand up and walk." And so they did.
Okay. This is fucking freaky because, again, passage of time and creation, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, "I'm lonely," takes his genetic equipment, takes a sample of himself, and recreates himself.
Right. With clay, which, again,
Programmable matter.
yeah, taking it from what we were talking about with the Cherokee was clay is moldable, sculptable. It can be made into many things. So who knows what clay actually meant, you know?
Yeah. It's just a medium with which he could work in.
Yeah.
Again, we're back onto the weird technology thing, but I like this narrative of the lone traveler who arrived on Earth and was like, "This is my home now. Let's populate it."
Yep.
Versus like giant ass fucking sphere around the Earth, fucking space elevators, and the world's gonna fucking end. And
For anyone that didn't see it, check out our first episode about the Cherokee where Atris goes into all of that. All of that makes sense in context with that video.
yeah.
But, I mean, in that, it's the people were made from clay, kind of like Christianity. So I wonder
Well,
if that's how it always was, or if there was some influence there, you know?
so,
Well, Adam was made from clay.
was he? I thought he was sort of snapped into being.
It's one of those things that they tried to translate out of it, but in the original one, yeah, he was just a clay golem that God breathed life into. That's how Adam came to be originally. They've tried to translate their way around the magic aspect of that, but yeah, originally that's what it was.
Well, yeah, because if God was all powerful, why does he need clay?
Exactly.
Um,
So that was pretty, standard for Abrahamic things, right? Like
yeah.
made out of clay, God breathed life into them, whatever. This is where it gets back to the crazy shit.
Okay. So, okay, I have. Sorry, I'm gonna derail it slightly.
Hmm.
Notice that he said he ordered them to stand, and they did.
Hmm. Stand up and walk. And so they did.
And so they did. Did he program them? Are they synths? Are we synthetic life?
I mean, that is one of the theories, is that aliens, and this is not a creation myth or anything, this is an ancient alien theory, full disclosure, or disclaimer, rather, um,
Right.
that aliens had a hand in the genetic evolution of some primate back in the day, and that led to us.
No, this is different. This is different, all right? This man created clones of himself, fucked with it, made it man and woman.
Woman and child.
Woman and child, right?
Mm-hmm.
And programmed them to be able to function. Specifically.
He said to the clay, "You shall be people."
Like I don't know if there was like, ah yes, they have meat brains, but I've implanted them with computer brains as well to, you know, handle the surviving while, you know, the meat part of the brain learns, or did he just hand stitch all the fucking neurons? I don't fucking know.
I like that. Keep that for this next part.
Okay.
They walked down to the river with him, who had made them, and he told them his name. As they were standing there looking at the water as it flowed by, the woman asked Napi, saying, "How is it? Shall we live always? Will there be no end to us?" Napi said,
Oh,
"Hmm? Got something?"
oh. No, I know where this is. I think I know where this is going, and it's
You think you do. I thought I did. I had no fucking clue.
well,
This decision hangs on gambling, all right?
okay.
Old man said, "I have not thought of that. We must decide. I will take this buffalo chip and throw it into the river. If, if it floats, people will become alive again 4 days after they have died. They will die for only 4 days. But if it sinks, there will be an end to them." He threw the chip into the river, and it floated. The woman turned and picked up a stone and said, "No, I will throw this stone in the river. If it floats, we shall live always. If it
Hang
sinks..."
on.
Hmm?
They really did the guy does something, girl says, "No, I can do it better."
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
Well, the woman turned and picked up a stone and said, "No, I will throw this stone in the river. If it floats, we shall live always. If it sinks, people must die so that their friends who are left alive may always remember them." The woman threw the stone in the water, and it sank. "Well," said the old man, "you have chosen. There will be an end to them." So, what's
Huh.
interesting about this is the woman
I don't
not only defied her creator, but she deigned to correct him. She didn't like that they would be dead for 4 days. Her thing was, "We shall live always," was her option.
so
It's interesting that
okay.
even God is fallible in this. You see that with the sheep and the
Yes,
antelope, but with her
but
questioning him.
also like if we're dealing with the programming thing, um even when a day old, a programmed human knows that it is suffering to exist. Um no, the she doesn't just correct him. I don't understand why the significance of the whole like, behold, buffalo chip. What is a buffalo chip?
You know what a cow pie is?
Yeah.
That's a buffalo chip. It's literally just a disc of poop.
Why?
So there, the old man wanted them to
God.
be reborn. He wanted them to not die permanently. That's why he picked that. And in her ignorance, she picked up a stone.
I don't think it was ignorance. Notice that she said, "Shall we live forever?"
Yeah. Uh,
And then she picked up something that was going to sink.
mm-hmm.
I think she knew what she was doing.
Fair. I hadn't thought about that. But yeah.
And hear me out. Oh gosh, this is a terrible thing I'm about to say.
Oh no.
She did not like being married to Napi.
I don't,
She did not like the idea of living forever with him. So she's just like, nah, bitch, we gotta die.
I don't think they were actually married, but yeah, yeah. Not even a day. She just woke up, looked at him, and went, "I want a divorce."
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just okay. Anyways, but I think she knew what she was doing. I don't think that I like. It's very easy to look at it as, oh, haha, woman ignorant. But like,
Well, that was not my point. It's because of what happens next that I think she didn't necessarily know.
okay,
Not many nights after that, the woman's child died. She cried a great deal for it. She said to Napi, "Let us change this. The law that you first made, let that be the law." He said, "Not so.
no.
What is made law must be law. We will undo nothing. We will undo nothing that we have done. The child is dead, but it cannot be changed. People will have to die."
I mean, okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting because, like, the more I look into cancer, the more it's like, why is this here? Right?
Yeah.
Like we have methods of repairing ourselves. And I understand that radiation is a thing, but like this if we needed to find a way to limit somebody's lifespan, this is it.
Cancer?
Sort of. Besides like measuring telomeres and how cells repair themselves, right?
Well, that brings up an interesting thought of when did cancer evolve to be a thing? Because
Everything gets cancer.
we have found dinosaur fossils rather. They're not bones. Dinosaur fossils that show evidence of having bone cancer.
Yeah, no, I think that's just a process of living, right? We
Well,
abuse our bodies and edit DNA changes happen.
well,
But
it's
like in sorry,
go ahead.
my thought is, what if that wasn't always the case? What if our telomeres were forever replicating and were way more efficient and something was introduced to our genetics that limits the amount of time that we have?
Well, that's actually what I was gonna get about to say is that some of um, the oldest living lineages of animals, things like crocodiles and snakes and turtles and whatnot, their telomeres are so incredibly efficient that we still don't know if any of them actually have a natural lifespan. Eventually, they just get so big that they starve because they can't find enough food or something kills them. We're not actually sure if they'll ever die of old age. just because it's so efficient that they don't run out of telomere. And then
Right.
the cancer thing. I can't remember if it's a type of newt or maybe it's an axolotl.
Probably the axolotl.
There is something. I can't remember what it is, but there is a type of animal that we've discovered that is immune to cancer. It just can't get cancer. So.
And we are not studying this. Why?
We are. We are.
We are not studying it faster. Why?
We are. It's just incredibly complicated, and we figured out how it happens, but the issue there is that the next step of the research is genetically engineering humans, which is a big no-no as far as the government's concerned.
Right. But this is about removing cancer off the table.
Yeah, and we could do that. We have isolated the gene in that animal that does that thing, but won't let us put it into people.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? You can fuck up a DNA strand, but you can't unfuck it up.
Right.
Right? Once it starts replicating, that's it. That's how it goes, right? You either have to kill it or whatever, right? So what I was trying to get to is that decision of dying or living forever, once it was made, could not be unmade.
Yeah. I'm glad
you can fuck up the thing, but you cannot unfuck it up.
These first people did not have hands like a person. They had hands. They had hands like a bear with long claws. They were poor and naked and did not know how to make a living. Napi showed them the roots and the berries and showed them how to gather these, and told them how, at certain times of the year, they could peel the bark off of some trees and eat it. That the little animals that live on the ground, rats, squirrels, skunks, and beavers, were good to eat. And he also taught them something about the roots that were good for medicine to cure sickness.
Okay. This is even more wild.
Yeah, and it's, again, maybe a simple understanding of evolution. People didn't start with hands. If you go back far enough, they would have had claws, you know?
I mean, I suppose. I was more latching onto the whole medicine thing.
Yeah. He also taught them something about the roots that were good for medicine to cure sickness. Yeah.
Notice that is... There's no superstition, it's just medicine, sickness. The fuck?
Yeah, there's no...
Like, we didn't get to that point until after the fucking Dark Ages. What the fuck?
Yeah, you Europeans were still trying to balance humors and shit into the 1700s.
Oh my god, the burning of the Library of Alexandria was such a fucking loss.
Oh god, it really was. That set the entire world back at least 1,000 years. At least. It was so... that's... Like, fuck Rome. Rome can fall, every day of the week. Fuck that. But the library, that was the loss.
Yeah, no. Rome falling was just, government sucks.
Yeah. That's par for the course. But losing that knowledge set the entire world back. That's crazy. Anyway, it's interesting you mentioned longhorns, actually.
Oh.
Earlier. Yeah. In those days...
Well, hang on. Sorry. We were on the whole hands thing.
Right.
And also medicines.
They had hands like a bear with long claws. And Napi taught them that they could make medicine out of roots to cure sickness.
So, again, essence of evolution,
Yeah.
as you said, but also, if he made it in his image, does that mean that he also had claws?
It never actually said he made them in his image, just said he made people.
Okay, but usually when somebody is making something that, they don't have a reference for,
They base it off of something.
they base it off of something. Humans didn't have hands, they had more claw-like appendages.
Mm-hmm. And they
And if
ate berries and roots and the bark off of trees.
Yes, like bears, sort of.
Yeah. And then the little animals that lived on the ground, like rats, squirrels, skunks, and beavers, were good to eat. Things that they could easily catch.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I say easily. It's not really that easy to catch a skunk, but
Where was I going with this? Because, like, the idea that they went straight to medicine, they're very scientific.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculously scientific.
I told you were going to be surprised by this one.
Which is why I'm like, how are they going to get to the point where they're eating each other and others?
It will come.
People for sport.
It will.
Okay.
It will get there.
Okay.
We've already seen how cruel Nappy can be by telling the woman that her child is dead. Get over it.
I mean, that. Imagine again. Remember at the beginning when I said, a authoritarian environment is hard to breathe in.
Mm-hmm.
Navi showing a little bit of where he might have come from, in the fact that he just told a woman grieving, "Too bad, deal with it. You made your choice."
Yeah.
Like, I mean that's petty. That's kind of petty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you defied me.
Live with the consequences.
Live with it. Yeah. Again, showing off where the fuck he came from. You broke the.
I hadn't thought about that. That's why I love doing this with you, because you come up with so many ideas.
Just really fucking weird shit and just little things. I'm sorry, I've derailed this a little bit too much.
Well, in those days there were buffalo, and these black animals were armed, for they had long horns. Once, as the people were moving about, the buffalo saw them, rushed upon them, hooked them, and killed them, and then ate them. One day, as the Creator was traveling about, he came upon some of his children that he had made lying there dead, torn to pieces, and partly eaten by the buffalo. When he saw this, he felt bad. He said, "I have not made these people right. I will change this. From now on, the people shall eat the buffalo."
Okay. What happened to "this is the law"?
See. That time the woman made a mistake. This time he made the mistake, so he wanted to fix it.
On top of that, again, authoritarian, "this is the law. Once it is law, it cannot go back."
Yeah.
But then the narcissist took over, where it's like, well, this is my mistake. I can't have this happening. I gotta do something.
Yep.
Which, again, and this is the other thing. There is a sense of time. It glossed over it, but from the original two synthetic people, right?
Yeah.
Now it's talking as if there are hundreds.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Time passed, and we sort of glossed over it.
the story glosses over it. It doesn't. It just goes from there was that chick to now there's a lot of them. So it
Um,
never said he made more or how the new ones got there. There was no striking with a fish. It just happened.
I feel like he was planting seeds everywhere. It just was the story of the first woman.
Well, that's I'm gonna save that save that thought for me for later.
Oh, okay. Anyways, so he's traveling around,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he comes across the corpses of his creations and he gets angry,
Yes.
right? He says that he's sad, right? That he feels remorse or whatever.
When he saw this, he felt bad. Yes.
He felt bad, not that he felt like we that felt bad is an affectation, a modern affectation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's broad. He felt terrible. He felt bad. He felt a bad emotion, right? I say he got angry. And he looked at the Bicers like, guess what? You're fucking dinner! And so he modified his future generations of his creation. I don't know how yet, but he did it. And he also, like, changed how the buffalo function.
Mm-hmm. he just saw it, looked over at the buffalo, like gnawing on a foot or something, and went, "How dare you? Those were my favorite. You little shit. Come here."
Vegans your buffalo.
Oh god.
Uncarnivores your buffalo. So, this brings up a different thing, which is generational memory. And we'll get to that when I do my section, which is going to be me explaining video game shit to you. I'm going to have to explain this because it's really fucking weird to think about that everything that you do in life has an impact on how you form. Everything. Right? And that has an impact on other things that we'll get to. And so the theory that how you spend your life impacts how your children spend their lives is 100% real.
Yeah.
It's not 100% effective, right? You're still going to have, there's still variance. But how you choose to spend your life is more than likely how your children will spend their lives.
Is this the nature versus nurture thing?
Sort of. Sorry, off topic. Okay, so he pointed at the longhorn and was like, "You're my dinner now."
Yep. Yep. So he said,
"Get over here."
he said, I have not made these people right. I will change this. From now on, the people shall eat the buffalo. He went to some of the people who were still alive and said to them, how is it that you people do nothing to these animals that are killing you? The people replied, what can we do? These animals are armed and can kill us, and we have no ways to kill them. The Creator said, that is not hard. I will make you something that will kill these animals.
And so he gave them a gun.
Well,
Shit. These guys don't understand the concept of violence. Got it.
Yeah, his solution is actually to make them weapons. So you want to hear about that?
Come over here, little Timmy. I'm gonna teach you how to use a bow. You're gonna put a fucking tungsten rod through that bullseye at 50 paces.
Oh, God. He went out and cut some straight serviceberry shoots and brought them in and peeled the bark from them. He took a larger piece of wood, flattened it, tied a string to it, and made a bow. Now He was the master of all birds, and he went out and caught one and took feathers from its wings and tied them to the shaft of wood. He tied...
Okay. Sorry. You just glossed over something fucking wild. He what? He became the master of all birds.
Now he was the master of all birds. Yeah.
Now he was the master of all birds.
And I think that might
As in, like,
be
a storyteller's. Now, he was the master of all birds.
yeah, I think my inflection might have been off on that one. It probably should have been like, now, he was the master of all birds. You know? I think my inflection, the way you say it, changes it.
Holy shit! Way back in the day, we had the meme! Birds aren't real! They're drones! He's the master of all birds! He controls all of them! Keeping us down, keeping an eye on all of us!
Oh, God.
Remember this. Even the Blackfoot knew that birds aren't real. Don't let big government win!
Oh, God.
The Pentagon is just built around Nappy's home.
He just lives in the middle. He's
just there. He's just like, listen, you motherfuckers, just get me a damn pizza already. I'm depressed at what you guys have become. He's just the grandpa that lives in your basement.
Back in my day, the damn buffalo were killing you idiots. I gave you bows for a reason. You goddamn AK-47, son of a bitch, fucking nukes.
Okay, Poppy, just give us access to your drones. We'll take it from here.
Oh, God.
That said, I am really, really liking this narrative of a lone refugee stole a gene bank, right? He's immortal, so he's just sort of wandering the cosmos, sort of reviving random animals to keep him company on his journey.
Ooh, let's see what this one does.
And then he happens on Earth by random happenstance. Or by the providence of little muskrat.
That fits so well too. He's just like, ooh, let's see what this one does. Oh, what are you, a sheep? You've got big horn. Oh, you're okay.
He comes from a fascist or authoritarian star empire or whatever. So his mentality is very brutalistic, very unfortunate.
Yeah.
To the point where when he created a being to be his companion, they wanted to die.
Jeez. Yeah. That fits.
And then it has emotions. So when the thing that it cared for died, the thing that it actually liked died, it was like, no, why? Right? Like humans do. But then it was like, no, you made your choice. You didn't want to spend eternity with me. Suffer, bitch.
That'll teach you.
No, like, this, again, disclaimer, in no way is any of this actually what I believe, but my writer's brain is like, huh, yeah, that could work.
Oh, God, we're gonna get through this, and you're gonna come out with a novel that's just all of this shit codified into one story.
No, I'm gonna have a fan base that's just all the crazies online. That's like, he is the vision of our the Messiah. What is real? This is like, I was joking. Leave me alone.
He tied 4 feathers along the shaft and tried the arrow at a mark, and found that it did not fly well. He took off these feathers and put on 3, and when he again tried it at the mark, he found that it went straight. He picked up some hard stones and broke sharp pieces from them. When he tried them, he found that the black flint stones made the best arrow points. He showed the people how to use these things. So for the Blackfoot, Napi showed them how to make and use hunting tools.
I love this image in my head of just this angry man who's like, "Why don't you fight back?" And it's just like, "Fight back? We don't know how." Grabs fucking bird out of the sky, rips its feathers out, grabs a tree, rips it down, makes a fucking bow, starts testing shit. Fuck it, it's too far to the left. Too many feathers. Just this guy. I feel like he's just angry.
Just shoves it in their hand. And then he shows it to me. Just
here.
Yeah.
How do we use this? Fucking God. And then he shows them how to use it.
Oh man.
I think when you told me that he's supposedly the sun, I think that colored my interpretation because the sun can burn, but it also helps. So my brain is just like, he wants to help, but he's just this fuck ass angry guy. He is the fury of 1,000 suns.
Oh man.
When Muskrat died, his chill died.
That was his personal pet. He didn't actually have the genetic code to make more. One day after this, some people went on a little hill to look about, and the buffalo saw them and called out to each other, "Ah, there is some more of our food," and rushed upon them. The people did not run. Instead, they began to shoot at the buffalo with the bows and arrows given them.
I find it interesting that the first weapon was not a spear.
Yeah, it was a bow and arrow. Yep.
Specifically a bow and arrow.
Yep.
Because spears can be thrown, right?
Yes.
But they and that is usually the go-to because it's simple. But in their creation myth, it's a bow.
Yes, which is, on a technological scale, it's infinitely more complicated.
Yeah, and that confuses the shit out of me. But also, they have the concept of animals communicating with each other.
Yes.
They said call out, not spoke or cried or whatever, but like, look, there is food. They knew that there was a signal when buffalo see prey, or when animals see prey, and they're pack animals.
Yes, buffalo actually, when they see a threat, they will call to each other and they will form up a group. And if they charge, they're not quiet about it. But the next part might put a kink in that.
Oh?
They say that when the first buffalo, hit with an arrow, felt it prick him, they called out to its fellows, "Oh, my friends, a great fly is biting me."
Okay, that's embellishment, but okay.
Yeah. Which I guess makes sense because if you've ever seen someone hunt a buffalo with a bow and arrow, one arrow is not going to do much.
Yeah, no.
You basically just poke it enough times that it bleeds out and then it's dead. You don't actually...
What this feels like is more conveying the idea that, hey, one ain't gonna do it, Chief.
Yeah.
One ain't gonna do it, bro. You gotta hit him more. You have to death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Makes sense. These are really big animals, so an arrow is just like a pinprick to them. They don't give a shit. You remember how we glossed over people being made?
Yeah.
About to gloss over this too. Um,
Okay.
with the flint knives that they had been given, they cut up the bodies of the dead buffalo.
What? That was a huge time skip.
Yeah. No explanation where the knives came from. No one gave it to them. They just have them now, and then they use. Apparently, they know how to butcher the buffalo too. You know, they've never killed one of these things. They've always been killed by them, but they know
I
which.
guess trial and error.
Maybe.
I mean,
This
gave
is
them a bow and arrow and just fucking left.
this part is really interesting to me.
Oh.
The next thing. Nabi came up about this time and said to them, "It is not healthful to eat raw flesh. I will show you something better than that." So he gathered soft, dry, rotten wood and made...
They invented the bow before fire.
Yeah.
Also, Guy told his progeny, if you will, hey, you can eat the ground animals. They're good to eat. And then proceeded not to teach them how to cook. Father of the year, everyone!
So he gathered soft, dry, rotten wood and made punk of it.
Punk.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what that punk... I think what it's saying is that that he was making kindling.
Yes. Hang on.
That's one of those things that sounds familiar, but I'm not entirely sure.
So, okay. Punk is... He made it smaller.
Okay.
I'm looking at older terms for it. It means inexperienced child, which is then derived from just the word punk.
Okay. So
to make smaller, I guess.
Okay. So he gathered soft, dry, rotten wood and made a small pile. And took it...
Or rendered it smaller.
Rendered it smaller, yeah. And took a piece of wood and drilled a hole in it with an arrow point and gave them a pointed piece of hardwood and showed them how to make fire with sticks and to cook the flesh of animals. So he started with having them eat what they could pick up off the ground, basically. Saw that the other things he made were just destroying the people. Taught them how to make bow and arrow instead of just a spear. Got them
even if I don't know, they said that they are armed, we are not.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they had spears even.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He just skipped the easy thing and was like, "Here's a bow. Here's how you make it."
I mean, when you think about it, it's the smartest decision, because CQC with a fucking buffalo, not gonna fucking happen.
I mean, we did it with mammoths.
I mean, yeah? Did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there were a couple of ways to hunt mammoths, but there's evidence that they were lured into a canyon and just shoved boulders on them. Running them to death, basically, was another one. And again, finding somewhere small to trap them, up against a cliff or something, and poking them with spears until they died. That was another way they did it. So, yeah, close quarters combat with a mammoth.
Food tasted terrible before the invention of the gun, didn't it? Because the meat, once fear and adrenaline is pumped into it and they're running, it just tastes terrible immediately after.
Yeah, all the lactic acid buildup and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he taught them how to make weapons to hunt the bigger animals, and then taught them that it's not healthy to eat raw flesh. and taught them how to make fire so that they could cook it.
Okay, Stitch incoming. Fucking... Again, he gave them weapons before he taught them how to cook. I am not surprised that Sorry. Oh gosh. I almost said something stupid. I am not surprised that I'm still gonna say it, but like if this is actually how their society developed, I am not surprised that they are the way that they are.
Blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne.
It's not even that. Just I don't know. I don't know how to define them. They're scary.
Well, after this, the people found a certain stone in the land, took another hard stone, and worked one upon the other, and hollowed out the softer one to make it into a kettle. He had to teach them how to make fire, but they figured out cookware on their own.
You know what? How much do you want to bet that he has bowls, and one of them saw him use a bowl, and was like, "Can I have bowl?" And he said, "No, make your own." What is it made out of? Stone. Fuck you. So they did it.
I just love that he holds their hand through all of this, and then they just like went, "Well, what do we do now?" And he's just like, eat with your hands, and they're like, "Ew, no."
Bowl.
Oh God, but yeah. So the Blackfoot learned how to cook from their creator, and their creator told them that raw meat was unsafe. So, no sushi for the Blackfoot.
I mean, at least it's not the Cherokee that were like, "Ew, I don't like crawfish." And that was that. That was the end of crawfish for the Cherokee.
Yeah. At least this one's sensible.
I mean, is it though?
Well, yeah. Even back then, they knew not to eat. Because it goes back to like the medicine thing, right? They just started with medicine. They also started knowing you could get sick from eating raw meat. It's unhealthy. It can hurt you.
Okay. Keep in mind that they only just started cooking now.
Mm-hmm. True.
There has been generations of these people eating squirrels.
And skunks.
Squirrels and skunks like they're Kit Kat bars. Oh, just unwrap it and... Alright? It makes a funny crunching sound when you twist it like this, Jerry.
Oh, God.
This bit's my favorite.
Oh, man. People, I hope we get a fan out there and...
I should have them animate all the really crazy shit I say.
Yeah, it would be great. I like no pressure to anyone that's listening or anything, but that shit would be hilarious, and I don't think either of us would complain about it at all.
I eat skunks like a fucking Kit Kat bar. It snaps when you twist it.
Gary, no.
These little organs right here, they give you power! What are they? I don't know, but I'm gonna test them. Testes. That's not a very nice way to put it. Well, we'll call them Rocky Mountain oysters.
Oh, God. Oysters? What's that?
I don't know, but... Time travel, shut the fuck up.
Oh, God.
And then there's the possibility that Napi is just a time traveler from today.
The fuck do you mean you don't know how to kill them? What? It's not even that. Just, fuck, go give me that branch. So you know how you were saying Napi could be going around to different places and stuff?
Yes, it literally says that he's traveling. While traveling, he came across his the dead,
Right,
right?
right. Well, glossing over some more stuff. It is also told that the Creator made people and animals in another place and in another way.
What? Okay.
At the Porcupine Mountains, he made other earthen images of people, blew breath on the images, and became people. They were men and women. After a time, they asked him, "What are we to eat?" He took more earth and made many images in the form of buffalo. And when he had blown on them, they stood up, and he made signs to them, and they started running. He said to the people, "There is your food."
And then they starved to death. Uh,
Well, now, they replied, "we have those animals. How are we to kill them?" "I will show you," he said. He took them to the edge of a cliff and showed them how to heap up piles of stone running back from the cliff, with the point of the V towards the cliff. He said to the people, "Now, do you hide behind these piles of stones, and when I lead the buffalo this way, as they get opposite to you, stand up."
what?
Yeah. So he's teaching them how to set a trap for the buffalo, right?
Okay.
Then he went on toward a herd of buffalo and began to call them, and the buffalo started toward him and followed him until they were inside the arms of the V. Then he ran to one side and hid, and as the people rose, the buffalo ran on in a straight line and jumped over the cliff, and some of them were killed by the fall. He's basically teaching them how to lemmings the buffalo off a cliff.
What?
They went, "How are we to kill them?" in reference to the buffalo, and he went, "Just throw them off a cliff, that'll work."
I'm not teaching these fuckers how to use bows again. Fuck it, gravity.
Oh, God. "There," he said, "go and take the flesh of those animals." Then
No, I like to think that he just goes, "There! Now go take that flag." There! Fucking ungrateful little shits.
well, either way, however he says it. Then the people tried to do so. They tried to tear the limbs apart, but they could not. They tried to bite pieces out of the bodies, but they could not do that. Napi went to the edge of the cliff and broke some pieces of stone with sharp edges and showed them how to cut the flesh with these. So
Napi is just so wildly inconsistent. I don't understand. What the fuck?
Of the buffalo that went over the cliff, some were not dead, but were hurt, so they could not run away. The people cut strips of green hide and tied stones in the middle, and with these hammers broke in the skulls of the buffalo and killed them.
Oh.
Yeah, so, don't take the knife and finish the job. Just bash their fucking head in using parts of the other ones you already killed and a big rock.
Blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne.
When they had taken the skins from these animals, they set up poles and put the hides over them, and so made shelter to sleep under.
Okay.
So in that segment, and this is still the Blackfoot creation stuff, right? But
Okay.
they explain that there are other people besides them that do things differently, and and explain the differences of why they do things that the Blackfoot don't do. It's Napi taught them differently, right? Which is really cool to think about because
It doesn't preclude, but what it does is it teaches them that, hey, just because somebody does it differently doesn't make it wrong.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But in my writer's brain, Nappy's just a really shitty father.
Well,
Oh gosh, is there more?
mm-hmm. There's one more section. In later times, the creator marked off a piece of land for the 5 tribes: Blackfoot, Blood, Pegan, Gros Ventre, and Sarsi, and said to these tribes, when people come to cross this line at the border of your land, take your bows and your arrows, your lances and your war clubs, and give them battle, and keep them out. If they gain a footing here, trouble for you will follow. So at the very end of their creation myth, Napi told them, fuck shit up.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
So, like I said, we got to the part where they're a hostile tribe, but before all of that, it was surprisingly tame.
It was kind of tame. I was sort of vibing with the guy with anger issues, and then it came time for does he show up in later mythology?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
because this hasn't even gotten to the part where he becomes the sun. You know.
Right. No, that makes sense.
But that's the end of the Blackfoot creation myth, more or less. And I decided to include more this time because it felt like last time it ended a bit too abruptly, and we'll have to revisit the Cherokee at some point and maybe redo and do an extended version of that or something. But
I'm just that fucking 180 of just like, I drew a line in the sand. Anybody crosses that line, fuck them up.
Yeah.
If they gain ground, you're fucked.
You want me to read the quote again?
Yes.
He said to these tribes, when people come to cross this line at the border of your land, take your bows and arrows, your lances and your war clubs, and give them battle, and keep them out. If they gain a footing here, trouble for you will follow.
I mean, they weren't wrong. Because along comes a friendly, dandy little fair-skinned bastard, and he wants to build a giant mechanical beast to cross the plains.
Yeah.
If you don't keep him out, trouble will follow. This was wild, though. Like, it was tamer in the beginning, and then it just went batshit fucking insane.
Yeah, it was
0 to 100, 0 to corn in record time.
Yeah, it started out pretty similar to the Cherokee. The whole world is water. Yep. Mud. Yep, that makes the land. Okay. He did what now? He what? Okay.
He created his first ex-wife.
But yeah. And then it's not till the very end where they explain why they don't like intruders.
I mean, it feels like a footnote. But you said that he shows up later, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be more, you know. I'm sure there is, because Napi is a big part of their culture and their beliefs. He is the sun. He is the creator. He is the center of their mythology and their belief system. So,
just find this so fucking funny. Oh my goodness. I I I mean I kind of called it. He's the angry man.
He went from just being like I think the story started in like his midlife crisis, and it ends with him being just, you know, Clint Eastwood on his porch with a shotgun going, "Get off my lawn."
Pretty much.
Oh man. So what'd you think?
I kind of don't feel as bad for the joke I made.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think.
Well,
I mean, I like the narrative that this one turned out, because I don't know. That's just it just works, I guess. But also, what the fuck?
and it's interesting to see that, again, just like the Cherokee, they have some stuff that is just, it's right for all of the wrong reasons, and it's so crazy out there that they had any knowledge, however misinformed it was, of things that we later learned is correct, you know?
But like, they also like it. It is astounding just how right some of these things are. As you said, like, it's the fuck.
Well, the Cherokee had a concept of Australia. Watch the other video if you don't believe us. And and the Blackfoot can be interpreted to have been passed down an understanding of how evolution worked, you know?
Which, again, fucking wild.
It's fascinating to look back at it with a modern lens and just be like, they knew bighorn sheep evolved to be in the mountains. They don't know how they knew that. They just knew they started down here and went up there, you know?
I forgot it. Nappy did it.
And I do like also that they weren't the only ones. Their creator made other people, you know? They were not the chosen ones. They were just one of the things that got created. There were other...
And then he commanded, if anybody else crosses these lines, fuck them up.
Which, if you want to, you want me to poke your brain a little bit, maybe he wasn't the only one that was there. Maybe you could take that as...
It's been in the back of my mind this entire time, but I didn't want to say anything until we reached, like, Greece or something, because, like, pantheons are fucking wild.
Yeah. You could take that last part of keep them out. If they gain foot here, trouble will follow you. Of maybe there was another Napi somewhere else, and he knew
Keep
that...
them off my lawn.
Yeah. You 5 tribes are the ones I made. If someone I didn't make shows up, get rid of them. You know?
This is my planet. If somebody like me shows up, kill them. I don't want to pay taxes. He really is just a shitty father. Oh my gosh.
And I had mentioned in the Cherokee episode, it's fascinating how similar and how drastically different the native stories can be, and this is a perfect example of that. It's got similarities, but overall it's very different, you know?
Oh yeah.
So, for the next episode, we are undecided, but we were thinking maybe we could stray out of North America somewhat, and maybe we could get suggestions for other people groups. We were considering, I think at one point I had gotten you excited about the Aztecs.
Oh, right.
So maybe we could
Oh,
travel to South
they're
America. And if anyone wants to leave suggestions in the comments, we'll add it to the list. You know?
yeah. And hey, thank you all for watching. But if you want to support the channel, please leave a like and a subscribe so you can find us later. And leave a comment as well. It'd be really nice to hear from you guys. More than just the silent stares that we get from people that we sort of know that we're like, oh yeah, sure, I'll watch it.
Well, to that point, do you want to end it on a joke like you did on the last one?
Ooh, okay.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Hephaestus is the epitome of dropped on their head as a child and now their parents don't want them anymore. I don't know, that's not funny. He also invented AI. There we go. Hephaestus invented AI and he was dropped on his head. What does that say about our society?
Okay, everyone. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye-bye, everyone.